Trust me, you're not going to want to watch this unless you've already watched the first 3 videos of this series. Last time, the squad took a bite out of the Dusk realm. However, this time, the Dusk realm bites back. Level 6, towards a glory not worth taking. Haruhiro is currently sprinting through the streets of a Dusk realm city, with 6 Cyclops hot on his tail. He turns a corner just as Tada and Tokimune jump from a building to attack his pursuers. Now this was all planned ahead of time, and it only takes but a moment for the Tokis to eliminate the 6 enemies. That being said, they have no time to relax, as their real target just turned the corner. Their typical strategy centers on Ranta using a lightning sword dolphin to stun the giant, while Tada deals the majority of the damage with his warhammer. However, during this battle, enemy reinforcements arrive, but they are quickly dealt with, which allows Tada to jump off of a building, do a flip attack, and take down the giant. The squad then harvests the loot and returns back to the Dusk Realm settlement. It turns out that about a week after the squad discovered the Dusk Realm, another party stumbled upon it as well. This duo party consists of 2 famous explorers, Lala and Nonon. Lala and Nanon quickly sold off their intel to other volunteers, which led to a settlement forming inside of the Dusk Realm. Entire clans have even come to the Dusk Realm, and a certain barbaric clan named Iron Knuckle has been decimating entire cities filled with Cyclops. Anyways, at the settlement, we find Haru going for a walk, as he accidentally witnesses Kuzaku grab Mary's arm and escort her away from the camp. This scene straight up hurts, and it causes Haru to become very flustered as he attempts to sort out his thoughts and feelings regarding Mary. The following day, the squad and Tokis decide to return to Alterna in order to purchase some new skills. Haru takes this time to learn the skill Stealth. This is a skill that completely erases the user's presence, while also enhancing their perception. Also, while in Alterna, Haru gets tricked into going on a date with Mimori, which ends with her crying due to her unrequited love. The group then heads back to the outpost where they find out that the giant god, a ridiculously tall and peaceful white giant in the Dusk Realm, has begun to attack volunteer soldiers. We then cut to the squad observing the giant god just as Tokimune states that he's going to fight it. Just before Haru can explain how that is a stupid fucking idea, he feels the receiver begin to vibrate. Just in case you don't remember, Haru was given this receiver when he met Soma, and it's essentially a one-way cell phone. It turns out that Soma will be coming to the outpost, and he asks the Daybreakers in the area to meet up with him. This causes Tokimune to get even more excited, as he now plans to invite Soma to join his mission to kill the giant god. Next, we find them at the outpost where they accidentally bump into Akira. Now, Soma might be the strongest soldier, but Akira is hands down the most prestigious volunteer soldier, and guess what? Tokimune invites him to kill the giant god. Later on that evening, they meet up with Soma, Tokimune invites him, Soma accepts, and this causes dozens of other parties and clans to join the mission. Then after a brief strategy meeting, they decide to dig a few pitfall traps in order to lure the giant god into, and that's why we currently find the squad digging a giant hole. After 3 days of on and off digging, our group decides they've done enough and head out to observe the giant god. The giant god is currently being distracted by the elite volunteers, but it's not alone. There is also a big white creature, best described as a hydra, that is also chasing the elites. A little later on, the squad heads back to the settlement, where they find 3 clans, Iron Knuckle, Berserkers, and Orion, all hanging out. Shinohara informs the squad that the giant god has quit moving, but the problem is that it's currently guarding the cave leading back to Grimgar. Haru is trying to think over the situation, but he is interrupted by an ear-splitting roar that reaches every corner of the Dusk Realm. He then looks at his surroundings as he sees an army of white giants approaching from multiple directions. The first wave of giants arrive, causing the 100-ish volunteers at the settlement to panic. The squad gets split up during the chaos, and we find Ranta and Haru running from a giant, directly toward another. They narrowly survive the encounter and meet up with Mary, Yume, and Kuzaku on the other side. Shiho is still missing, and to make matters even worse, another wave of giants just arrived, this time accompanied by an ocean of Cyclops. Though Haru refuses to abandon a comrade, so they begin weaving their way through the battlefield, desperately searching for Shiho. It takes a few moments, but they find Shiho hiding in a ravine, but they also have 6 enemies chasing them. Yume goes to help Shiho, while Kuzaku, like a badass, holds off 5 of the enemies, though the 6th enemy steps in and stuns Kuzaku, but Mary is able to save him. The squad then spreads out the enemies as Yume and Shiho arrive, allowing Kuzaku to finish off the Shaki. Ranta immediately picks up the Lightning Sword Dolphin just as they spot enemy reinforcements. Haru is confident that they will win. That was until he noticed the white giant heading straight for them. Haru is just about to order the retreat, when all of a sudden the Tokis arrive to lend a hand. Tada and Tokimune distract the giant, as everyone else finishes off the Cyclops. Haru then comes up with an idea to quickly deal with the giant. Tokimune leads the giant to the cliff on the ravine, where Tada immobilizes it, allowing the mages to blast it over the edge. 9 more enemies arrive, including another giant, so our group spreads out to deal with each of them accordingly. Ranta also attempts to use magic like an idiot, but it actually ends up confusing the enemies, allowing Shiho to root them in place. Now they've knocked down the total number of enemies, but the original giant is beginning to climb out of the ravine. Now you need to remember that all of this has been going down on a very crowded and chaotic battlefield, where the volunteers are barely holding their own. However, the Hydra has just arrived, leaving the volunteers with no other choice than to run away. The squad follows suit, but Kuzaku has his hands full, forcing Haru to take a major risk by rushing the 3 enemies. However, it works out, allowing them to retreat, but the original giant now stands in their way. Kuzaku loses his shield as he nearly gets squished, but once again the Tokis have returned to save their skin. This time, the group goes for more of a tactical retreat. The squad is completely surrounded and just barely managing to hold off the enemies, but all of a sudden the giant's head explodes due to Akira's party arriving. The 6 members of Akira's party begin effortlessly decimating the hordes of enemies, completely turning this battle around. Akira's party is fighting so leisurely that they even use this one-sided onslaught as an opportunity to mentor the squad by showing them that the guilds of Alterna only teach you the basics, and that hard work can even rival talent. Akira's party then deals significant damage to the Hydra, but this only winds up angering it even further, which results in the volunteers retreating once again. Though as they are running away, Haru sees a black and orange figure flash by him in the opposite direction, successfully stopping the Hydra in its tracks. This figure, or rather person, is Soma, and his party arrives shortly after him. Now, Akira's and Soma's fight with the Hydra is very detailed in the novel, and I don't have the slightest idea as to how I can do it justice, so be sure to read the books for yourself if you want the full details. Together, Soma and Akira's squads are able to handle the Hydra, but 3 more Hydras are coming their way, so Akira rallies the volunteers to prepare for battle. Haru knows that if the volunteers encounter the Hydras, then a lot of them will die, so he argues with Akira's priest, which causes them to change their mind and begin to retreat. And it's during this retreat that Shima, the woman who is Soma's shaman, informs Haru that the real goal of the Daybreakers is to find a way back to their original world. The squad runs for the Wonder Hole, but the giant god has covered the area in dirt and dust as it tries to stomp on the volunteers. They charge through the dust and spot the cave, just as the giant god's foot slams down, blocking the entrance. In their panic, the squad decides to flee from the hill in chaos in order to get a grasp of their surroundings. Though as they reach a clearing, they find multiple enemies chasing them, so they continue to run, where they stumble upon Lala and Nonon, who quickly eliminates the enemies. Of course, more enemies are on their way, so the squad follows Lala as they flee deeper and deeper into the Dusk realm. At one point, they even use the pitfall traps they dug to evade their pursuers. They walk for over a day, and wind up at a mysterious cave where they enter and find the same bat-like creatures they discovered in the Wonder Hole. Lala and Nonon have seen these creatures numerous times before, and upon reaching the exit of this cave, Lala introduces them to a brand new world which they are yet to explore. Of course, the squad continues their journey through this new world in Volume 7, which just so happens to be my favorite book of the series. Before you go though, I need your help. Now of course, I'm going to continue this Grimgar series, but what other anime would you like me to cover like this? Just keep in mind that it needs to be multiple years old with no hope for a season 2. Personally, I'm thinking Roka, Braves of the Six Flowers, as I'm just about to finish those. Just let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to buy the books yourself, then use the link in the description to support the channel. A big shout out to Matt, my newest patron. Thanks for watching everyone. I hope to see you next time.